Ocelot Story, Diary of a Brave Ocelot. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Oliver is an ocelot. He loves to eat fresh salmon and chase the chickens near the farmer's barn. But some of those things get him into trouble, and when he meets a teenage girl who uses a fishing rod to catch fish, they team up to go on various adventures in the forest, the creepy canyon, and more. This Diary of an Ocelot gives you the perspective of one feline who begins to love the humans and helps out when one of them is in need to be rescued. Chapter 1. Fish and Frustration. The river was full of it. Salmon. I loved raw salmon. I could eat it all day, but unfortunately I didn't catch anything yet. Oliver, you are really losing it, I told myself. You used to catch fish like that, and now look how much trouble you are having. It's insane. When I realized I was talking to myself, the thought entered my mind if I was indeed insane. Didn't more animals do that, talking to themselves? Oh well. You still didn't catch anything? I heard a voice say behind me. Hi, Alisa. How are you? Good, Alisa said. I already caught 5 fish. How many did you catch? 0? Yes, 0. Thank you for rubbing it in, I said sarcastically. Don't bother me. I am busy. I'm trying to catch my first salmon. By the way, how did you get so many of them? Oh, I am just talented like that, Alisa said. It's a gift that some ocelots have and others don't. Now you're just bragging. I'll catch a fish. Just wait. Okay, go ahead and show me. I was tired of Alisa's arrogant attitude, so I was going to do my best again. I jumped into the water and saw a big river salmon swim by. It had a beautiful color, and it looked more delicious than anything I had ever eaten. I tensed my claws and whacked them into the water, making an attempt to snatch the fish away from its habitat. Missed. Ha ha ha! Alisa laughed. You are terrible at catching fish. That's not how you do it. Well, if you're so great at it, why don't you show me how it's done? I asked. I don't have to prove anything, Alisa said. I have 5 fish bones here, which are evidence of the fact that I had a good lunch. Grrr. Then how do you do it? Keep practicing. Although, I don't think it will help you. Some ocelots just don't have it in them. It looks like you're one of those. Anyway, I better get going. There are more fish on the other side of the river. I think I'll try my luck there. Don't follow me. I don't want you to scare away the fish. Don't worry, I'd rather stay here by myself. She left, and I watched as she threw the fish bones into the bushes and disappeared around the corner of the big rock near the riverbed. I was by myself again, and I just couldn't stand the hunger. I was starving. I saw all those fish swim by as if they were taunting me. But whenever I reached into the water, they were too quick, and I couldn't catch them. I gave up. I walked away from the river, trying to avoid the temptation of getting frustrated more than I already was. Stupid fish, I said. I walked around looking for something else to eat. The birds were all high, up there, hiding in the trees. They knew not to mess with me. They were safe, having learned from previous encounters with ocelots. I didn't blame them. Then I sat down and listened carefully. I heard something. It wasn't the typical sound of bears or birds or some other animal I was used to. Stupid fishing rod, why won't it work? I heard. Was that a human? Ah, I finally got it, I heard. Yes, it was a human being, probably a young female. At first I didn't care. I thought, why would I bother going over there? But then a thought came to me. If this girl had a fishing rod, then perhaps she could assist me in catching fish. Or maybe I could just steal her fish. That would be even easier. Hey, that wasn't such a bad idea. A smile appeared on my face as I thought of the delicious salmon I could get by robbing this pathetic girl. I snuck up to the spot where the sound was coming from. There she was, That was my ticket to free salmon. Awesome. Chapter 2. The Girl. As I approached the beautiful teenage girl and schemed to take her fish away, I heard her express a few frustrations again. And the more she did, the more I felt like I was just like her. We weren't so different, her and I. We both tried to catch fish, and we were both bad at it. The fact that we used different methods to do so didn't matter. I recognized my own tendencies in her behavior. "This is not fair," the girl yelled. "Yesterday I caught so much fish. Today is just a bad day. Yes, that must be it. There is a curse on this day or something." I chuckled inside. I knew how she was feeling. I had had better days than this, too. Suddenly, she saw me. It startled me. I didn't know where to go or what to do. "A kitty cat," the girl said. Hey, I wasn't a cat. Well, kind of. More specifically, I was a feline, and my species was that of an ocelot. But how could she know? Besides, she was still far away. For some reason, I trusted her. She looked innocent enough to treat me with respect. I came closer, and she stayed seated. "You're kind of cute," she said. I wasn't particularly fond of that word, since I wanted to be seen as a powerful predator. But in this case, I knew it could only work for me in a beneficial way. If a human says you are cute, it means they will give you food, doesn't it? I was sitting right next to her now, observing what she was doing. Fishing gear is weird. I didn't know what to think of it. It had some piece of strong plastic, a rod, and a box full of worms, probably used as bait. She was fine with me sitting there, and kept doing what she was doing. She attached a worm to the hook and threw the object into the water. After that, she sat and waited. Now what? I thought. I went to the water and looked at the float. The fish were approaching it, but they weren't trying to eat the worm. No wonder that girl was so frustrated. I had an idea. This was the problem. The fish were always swimming around so fast and all over the place that I had a hard time catching them. The girl couldn't catch them because she didn't want to go into the water, but I could. So now that the fish were calmer and didn't move as much, completely mesmerized by the yummy worm, I could go in there and snatch them away. I hoped the girl would understand my tactics. I went for it. I slowly began walking into the shallow river and moved towards the spot where the float was. I braced myself and jumped. Wham! I hit 2 fish, which flew through the air and landed on the shore. "Wow!" the girl exclaimed. "That was amazing!" She jumped up and raised one arm in the air as she said it. She was super excited. All because of your float and your worm, I thought. It didn't work when I tried it on my own. Sorry, but I don't know how much credit I can take for this. But you don't hear me complain. It's working, and that's what matters. This was the trick. This was the best way to do it. We had a lot of fun because each time the girl made sure the worm was in a different place, and each time I whacked a few fish with my claws, making them end up on the shore. The girl collected them into her bucket, and after an hour we had more than 20 fish. "I think you deserve a fish or two," the girl said. "That was good teamwork. But listen, I can give you a few fish now, some dirty, raw, bland fish. Or I can take them home and have my mom cook something special for the both of us." I didn't know about that one. I was hungry. I didn't want to wait. At the same time, my curiosity was too strong. Perhaps this is why they sometimes say that curiosity killed the cat. So I agreed to come along and see what she would create for me. Chapter 3. Best Fish in the World. The girl packed up her fishing equipment and carried everything home. I followed her like a good cat, as if I was her pet and didn't know any better. As we walked to her house, she began talking. "My name is Shelley," she said. "I am 9 years old and I have one brother. My parents are still together. It's too bad that some of the parents in this community aren't married anymore. But luckily, my mom and dad decided to stay with each other, even though they fight sometimes. I think it's great. My brother is younger than I am. His name is Dwayne. He bothers me when I am busy doing homework, but I just put up with him when he does. In a general sense, he is pretty good." We arrived at the front door. It was a decent house, I thought. I had no clue about the income gap between some families, but it didn't concern me. In my opinion, it was a nice home. "You can come inside," Shelley said. "I don't think my mom will mind." "Mom! I found a cat!" After a few seconds, I heard footsteps. Shelley's mother was coming down. She looked at me with big eyes. "Shelley," she said, "this isn't a cat. It's an ocelot. Didn't you know that?" "It looks like a cat to me," Shelley said innocently. "Ocelots can be mean," her mom said. "I would be careful with that animal if I were you. Perhaps it would be best to take it back to where it came from." "Does he look mean to you? He helped me catch fish. I think I will call him Oliver. That sounds like a good name for an ocelot." Yes! Finally, that kid got something right. Still, it's ironic to think that she couldn't even guess what I was, but she immediately got my name right. Funny. "Well, that's very nice, but I am still not sure if this is the best thing to do," her mother said, being a little worried. "I tamed him," Shelley said. "I promised him he could have fish if he would follow me. Please, Mom, don't make me break my promise." "Fine," her mother said. "He can stay, but if he does something that goes against our rules, we will take him back to the forest." "Deal," Shelley said. Then her brother came from the basement. "What is that?" the 6-year-old boy asked. "This is an ocelot," Shelley said proudly. "His name is Oliver and he eats fish. Mom, could you prepare the fish for us?" "Sure, it's almost time for dinner anyway. I will begin cooking." "Does he know any tricks?" Dwayne asked, pointing at me. "I don't know," Shelley said. But I understood them. I had learned the human language, so I wasn't going to let them down. I was tame and I was hungry. I knew that if I did a trick, I would be admired and loved, and that would ultimately result in more and better food. So when they said it, I lay on my back and put my paws up in the air. "Ha ha," Dwayne said. "That's pretty cool. What else can he do? Come on, Oliver, do a trick for us." I thought for a moment. What else could I do? Then I had it. I sat on my hind legs and put my forepaw forward as if I was going to shake their hands. "Bravo, that is excellent," Shelley said. "Good job, Oliver. You certainly deserve a fish now." Bingo. I knew it. These humans were so predictable. Just by doing a few funny things, I would get my reward. Their mother came in about 20 minutes later and put the fried fish on the table. She cut off a large piece and put it on a plate, which she then placed on the floor. "This is for you, Oliver," she said. "Enjoy." Again, I was incredibly curious. The fish had been grilled in some kind of lemony garlic sauce with salt and little specks of something else on it. The seasonings fondled my sense of smell. This had to be good. I bent over and took a large bite. Whoa, I thought. This is amazing fish! I didn't know fish could be so good. And who would have thought that lemon would go well with salmon? Where did these humans get ideas like this? I had to admit that I was impressed. Chapter 4. Chickens. Our friendship got better and better. In the next few weeks, Shelley and I often went to the river to catch more fish. We teamed up and always came home with more. I got a comfortable spot or bed in the corner of the room where I felt safe and sound during the nights I was there. Sometimes I snuck out and looked for mice or small birds. Hey, I was still an ocelot, and it was one of my basic instincts to do so. But most of the time I played with Shelley and her brother, walked around the yard, and did other things felines do. And then there were the chickens. The neighbor had chickens, something I only noticed after being there for a long time. It was because he had them behind his barn, something that was further away than everything else in her yard. I loved chasing the chickens. Did I mention that I loved chasing chickens? Oh, okay. Yes, I couldn't get enough of it. Once I discovered where they were, I thought of nothing else. I bumped into that area one day and saw them. Hundreds of white, feathery birds who weren't even able to fly away if I would go after them. It was amazing. It was perfect. I was going to do it. This was the life. I looked at them, I aimed, and I ran at them as fast as I could. I growled while sprinting at them as fast as my legs could carry me. "Bok, bok, bok," the chickens said, separating when they saw me coming. The chickens flapped their wings and went all over the place. Of course, they didn't really fly, but at least they got away from me. However, I never got tired. There were so many chickens to have fun with that I didn't stop. I went on, and the noise was overwhelming. The chickens were louder than they probably ever had been in their lives. Stupid chickens. They were so dumb, trying to fly away and sounding like a bunch of idiot birds. It was hilarious. Sometimes I would catch my breath and just start laughing because it was such a funny sight to see them panic for no reason. The feeling of being more powerful than hundreds of other animals was great. One ocelot against hundreds of chickens, and I was still winning. I was the ocelot, the one and only, and I was in charge. After a while, the fun was over because the neighbor came out of his house with his gun. "Why are the chickens so noisy?" he asked to nobody in particular. "Who is there? Show yourself if you dare." I hid myself in the barn, but he was coming closer. I had to do something. I didn't want to be shot. I saw his shadow approaching around the corner of the barn. I knew he would find me within seconds. The only chance I had was the element of surprise. Without further ado, I ran between her legs and sped to Shelley's house. The neighbor had fallen over and reached for his gun, which had fallen on the ground as well. Bang! I heard a gunshot in the distance, but soon I would be safe. Chapter 5. Our Little Journey. I thought it would be over. The neighbor took out his rage on me with her gun, even though he missed, and the chickens were unharmed. But it wasn't over. I had caused a major drama in Shelley's home, and at the time I didn't even know it. There was a knock on the door. Shelley's mother opened up.
"Hello there, neighbor. What can I do for you?"
she asked.
"Your cat, or whatever it is, went into my chicken den. I don't know if any of the chickens got killed, but I didn't have the time to check. I saw the pet run into your house, so I was assuming that it was yours."
"It's my daughter's. I didn't know it attacked your chickens. I'm sorry. We will get rid of it immediately. I told her that we would if it would cause any problems."
"Thank you, madam. I hope that we will be able to resolve the matter quickly."
"Of course. I will talk to my son. See you later."
"Good day, madam."
She closed the door and went to the bottom of the stairs.
"Shelley, come down here."
"Yes, Mom." Shelley came running down the stairs. When she saw her mother's facial expression, she didn't look so happy anymore. She knew she was in trouble. She knew that face.
"Your ocelot attacked the neighbor's chickens," Shelley's mother said. "Oh, well, I am sure he had no bad intentions. Oliver is really sweet." I know, her mom said. "But I told you that we would take him back to the forest if he would cause trouble." "Don't do this, Mom. I promise that you will behave." "You heard me," her mother said. "I don't want you to talk back to me. You cannot control him. How are you going to prevent him from going to the neighbor's house? Oliver needs to go no matter how much you love him. It's the right thing to do." "No! If he goes, I will go too," Shelley said with tears in her eyes. "You will do no such thing, young lady. Go to your room. I will take her back to the forest myself." "Leave her alone!"
Shelley ran out of the house, and I thought it would be best to go after her. She ran, and her mother, who was a little fat, I have to say, didn't follow her. I wondered if she was just going to wait and hope for her daughter to return, but I guess she didn't fully understand how stubborn she was. As we kept running, we reached the other side of town. There were hills and green fields. We passed cows and sheep and horses, but we were not going into the direction of the forest. This was the opposite direction. I wonder where she is going, I thought, while keeping up with this speedy kid. After some time, she stopped and panted heavily. She put her hands on her knees and looked at me. I looked back at him, and she knew I was there to protect her.
I am so angry, she said. I am going to stay away from home until I know what to do.
I felt guilty. I didn't have to chase the chickens, even though it was so much fun. And now I had caused a family drama that could end up being a disaster. At that moment, when I looked at her standing there, fatigued and sweaty, I promised myself I would look after her. I wouldn't leave her until she would be home again.
Let's go, Oliver. We're going that way. I don't know what I will find there, but it is far away from the village, and that is what matters most right now.
I didn't agree with her, but I stayed with her anyway. After all, I could understand the human language, but I couldn't speak it. We walked and walked. Shelley told me about the things she did in school, the teachers she liked, the kids who had bullied her, the friends she had, and the boys she had a crush on. I listened to everything she said and tried to make gestures of understanding her.
You're my best buddy, Oliver, she said. It's totally awesome how much fish we can catch by teaming up, and I like that you do what I say, at least most of the time.
As we entered a new area, the part where the farmer's field stopped, I looked at a sign. I couldn't read, but I was glad that Shelley could.
Beware, she read out loud. You are entering the creepy canyons.
Chapter 6. The Creepy Canyons.
Creepy canyons? I never heard of that, Shelley said. Sounds a little creepy if you ask me. I don't know if we should go on.
I knew we shouldn't go on, but I couldn't tell her. And it was too bad that I couldn't, because after a few seconds she changed her mind and said,
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm angry and I'm going as far away as I can, so bring it on.
When she found a sword on the ground, a random object that someone had left there to rust, she felt even more confident. She put her sword in front of her after picking it up and said, On guard, dangers of the creepy canyons! And just like that, she kept walking. Not very smart, I thought, but I had sworn to take care of her, so I walked along. The creepy canyons were actually not canyons at all. The territory consisted of vast plains, stretching for miles and miles, with charred trees, dry grass, and black ashes all around us. I had heard of these monsters called creepy monsters. They were the ones that would run at people and explode in their faces, killing them instantly or maiming them badly. I was sharp. I was aware of the danger. In the distance, we saw some of these green, creepy monsters. They were ugly beasts, and they saw us too. But they were not moving. They looked at me with fear, as if they wouldn't come near us. Other monsters on the other side came closer, but didn't run at us. I showed them my meanest face, trying to communicate to them to stay away from me and Shelley or else. None of them came close enough, and none of them exploded.
Weird, Shelley said when she observed the green creatures. It's like they are afraid of you, or of me.
I was pretty certain that it was me, but it didn't matter. The monsters kept their distance, and some of them even walked away. I was the girl's protector, and I knew how important my presence was. Eventually, all the green monsters left. They knew I was there to stay, and that I wasn't going to leave Shelley's sight. 2 other ocelots joined us that day. I don't know why. It was weird, but they didn't say a thing, and when I tried to talk to them, they ignored me. Perhaps they were just happy to see someone else in this area. Later, they disappeared. Weirdos. Good, I thought. I don't want anything to explode in my face, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if something happened to this kid. As we kept walking, we began to see why it was called Creepy Canyon. There was a canyon. We just had to cross the plains to find it.
Whoa, Shelley said. What a view!
When we reached the edge, we overlooked an entire valley. It was just as burned up and dry as the plains behind us, almost spooky. The peaks made the appearance of rocky flames, and there were tons of dead trees, more than on the plains. The monsters had quite a good time here, I thought. What a barren wasteland. Ugh.
I wonder what is down there, Shelley said.
I felt a little inadequate afterwards, because I wasn't paying attention. The 13-year-old girl came too close to the edge, and as her curiosity almost killed her, there it is again, she slipped and got stuck between two cracks.
Ouch!
She cried out.
Help! I'm stuck!
Uh-oh. That didn't sound good. Chapter 7. The Cliffs. I looked over the edge of the cliff. It was way deep. I was not going to climb down there. Besides, if I would reach Shelley, then how was I going to pull her up? I looked again. Her arm was stuck indeed. It got caught between two rock-solid walls, and she was unable to go anywhere.
What am I going to do? She asked in fear. How can I get out of here? Oliver, I am so glad you're still here. Please get my family. Let them know that they must find me.
I understood the girl's desperation. She knew she would die unless I would find help, and I also realized that she wasn't as sure as she appeared to be about relying on an ocelot. Her life was in my hands. I felt for her. Hoping that my gesture would work, I held up my paw in the air and waved it a little. She smiled. The faith of a young teen. Amazing. I think she secretly knew inside that I was her friend now, and that I would do everything in my power to get someone to rescue her. I gazed into the distance. It was a long way to the village. We had walked far. This was it. I had to do this. I hoped that this poor girl would be okay during my departure. Before I left, I took a branch and stuck it into the ground. This way I would recognize the place when I would come back. Hopefully I would. Chapter 8. Sprinting Skills. I began to run. I ran, and I took several small breaks. It was hot. The plains were almost like a desert. This made me worry about Shelley, too. I sure hoped she wouldn't get dehydrated. The monsters on the plains stayed away. Yes, I was the one they were terrified of, just as I thought. And then, out of the blue, I saw a shade emerge from the distance. It came closer as I was running, as if it was walking towards me. I stopped running so I could talk to her. "Olisa?" I asked. "What are you doing here?"
I could ask you the same thing, Oliver. What is an ocelot doing on the plains of the creepy canyons?
Not so fast. I asked you first, I said. Tell me your reason and I will tell you mine.
Well, I heard about this place and I wanted to test it out. Did you know that green monsters are scared of ocelots?
So I've noticed, I said. And you just came here to show off, to scare them away?
Yes, I did. Sounds like a fun thing to do, doesn't it?
Depends on what your idea of fun is, I said. Anyway, I am going to the village to get help. One of their children got stuck in the canyon.
I'll bet you that I will beat you to it, she said.
You're going to challenge me again? I think you got some issues, Olisa. I don't know anyone who is as competitive as you are.
So what do you say, Oliver? You're not chicken, are you?
I am the one who chases chickens, I said in a low, determined voice. Let's do this. Ready? Set? Go! We took off and sprinted as fast as we could. We raced across the plains and reached the village in no time. When I passed the first house, I stopped to catch my breath. Whew-wee, I said. Nice workout, isn't it?
Yes, it is,
Olisa said.
Okay, you've won. I hate it. See you later.
I chuckled. That Olisa, so eager to win everything and to be the best at everything. But I didn't care. It was all about reaching the village faster. As I walked through the streets of the little town, I searched for Shelley's house. When I found it, I went inside and walked straight to her parents.
Hey, what are you doing here? The mother asked. And where is Shelley? We've been looking all over town to find her.
I couldn't answer, but I held up my paw to signal that they should follow me.
I think this ocelot knows something, honey, she said. We have to go now. I hope our son is okay. I wished that animal of hers could talk.
Yes, I wished so too, lady. Now let's get going already. Guide the way, Ocelot, Shelley's father said. As I showed them the way out of the village, they could barely keep up with me. These fat humans weren't very fast, but at least now they knew where to go. During our trip to the cliffs, a thought suddenly hit me. What if the monsters found Shelley first? The thought made me run even faster, but every once in a while I had to stop. The green monsters didn't attack Shelley's parents either. They made sure to stay away from me. Eventually, we arrived at the scene. Finally, it was about time. I went to the edge where I had put the stick into the ground. It was still there. Then I looked over the edge to see if Shelley was still there. Yep, same spot, same Shelley. Her parents came too. "Shelley, are you there, girl?" her father shouted.
I'm here, Dad. I am stuck.
Don't worry, I will come get you. His mother looked very worried, but when she saw how easy it was for her husband to climb down and wiggle Shelley's arm out of the rocks, she was relieved. Shelley's father pulled her up and reached the edge.
Shelley, her mom exclaimed, I am so glad you're safe.
She gave her a hug, and her father looked proud of what he did. "We love you, girl," he said. "We like it better when you don't run away from home."
I know, Dad. I'm sorry. But can I keep Oliver if I promise to watch him so that he won't chase the neighbor's chickens again?
The two parents looked at each other.
Sure, her mom said. But you better make sure. I don't want another angry neighbor coming to our house.
Your ocelot has helped us get a lot of free fish, her father said. I think you can definitely keep him.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
And there it was. We were all safe, and all we had to do was go home. I led the way, and I kept all the green monsters away, and when we got home, I never went to the neighbor's house to run after the chickens again. Well, almost never. The neighbor wasn't always home to do something about it. The end. This has been Ocelot's Story, Diary of a Brave Ocelot, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Under the Sea, Diary of a Crazy Sea Creature, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. There are two sides. Two stories by two different creatures will make you see the bigger picture and figure out why things happened as they did. Mercy is the overall theme in here, along with empathy and a willingness to let go. Listen about a sea creature in an oceanic monument, a poor fisherman, and a collision with thousands of squid. The sequence of events is interesting to consider, and somewhat ironic and inspirational at the same time. Chapter 1. Vance's Monument. I am Vance. Nice to meet you. I am writing this journal to clarify what happened the other day. It was strange. I had him right in front of me, and still I hesitated. The natural monster in me would have evaporated this mean guy by shooting laser at him. But when I looked into his eyes, with my one eye that is, I couldn't help but empathize with him. I just couldn't do it. Something was telling me to restrain myself. I live in an ocean monument. I love it there. It's quiet, secluded, and full of hallways and rooms to hide in. Usually there is enough to do in these monuments. Some builder made them a long time ago. Who knows how long ago? And it's fun to explore everything. There are so many hallways and rooms that it's almost impossible to see everything. The structures encompass an area of at least 100 square miles. The one I live in is no exception. It's humongous. One of my favorite things to do in these monuments is play hide and seek. Wendy and Marv are my two best friends. Marv is always showing off, trying to impress Wendy, the only girl in our little group. And me? I just like to hide and then see how long it takes them to find me. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's only 10 minutes. At least that's what it feels like, even though I don't have any sense of time. I hate intruders. I just do. They aren't supposed to be here. This is our spot. One time there was a shark in the monument, and the three of us did everything we could to chase it away. It took a while, and it was quite frustrating. I don't even know why it was there, but this was our monument, not the shark's. "Did you see that shark?" Wendy asked.
"If I do, I will kill it," Marv said. "Don't worry, Wendy. I will protect you."
"Pfft, I don't need protection," she said, a little offended by Marv's macho attitude. "There it is!" I yelled, seeing that the shark was swimming closer to us.
"It's going to eat us!"
Marv screamed, trying to swim away. The shark caught up with him, though, and it was pointless to get away from it. The shark was big and was showing its sharp teeth before getting ready to bite through my friend. "Use your spikes, Marv!" I shouted. Marv waited and waited. The shark was getting closer by the second. It was almost in Marv's face. Just a little longer and it would eat Marv in one bite. "Now," Marv told himself, after which he blew up like a pufferfish and got all his defensive thorns out. The shark bit him, but the spikes went through his mouth. The shark made a screeching sound as it started bleeding a little bit. Marv was closing his eye, but was left unharmed by the ferocious predator. The shark swam away and left the building. Wendy and I swam towards Marv and asked him how he was. "Super awesome, of course," he bragged, but I could tell that he was still terrified by the big shark. "Good job," Wendy said. "That was the right thing to do." As sea creatures, we have two ways to attack or defend ourselves. Marv just showed us one. He got puffed up and extended his spikes so that the shark wouldn't or couldn't eat him without getting hurt. The other way we attack our enemies is by shooting laser. And this was mostly what we did when the squid came our way. Chapter 2: Squid. Did I ever tell you about squid? I hate squid. Those obnoxious, disgusting animals with all those tentacles seem to never stop when it comes to getting in our way. I've been attacked by a squid one time, and it brought its filthy tentacles around me, grasping me so that I couldn't escape. But before it bit me, I extended my spikes and made it think twice about eating me. Normally, we don't let ourselves get caught by squid, though. We always shoot lasers at them before they come close. The laser takes several seconds to charge, changing from a purple to a bright yellow light. It can penetrate anything, even armor, or so I've heard. Either way, it seems to work on squid. It always gets them. Sometimes, squid come in shoals. We make it a sport to try to hit them from afar. Wendy is particularly precise when it comes to aiming and killing the squid from a distance. Marv always tries, but is too unfocused, and I never do badly either, if I do say so myself. But one time, and this was the moment everything went wrong, their numbers were overwhelming. There was no way we could hold them back. It was a peaceful day, and after playing hide and seek, we kind of left the monument to swim around it. The bright sun shone through the waves, and we enjoyed the view of the vast ocean in front of us. We never go too far away from the monument, but within a certain perimeter, it's always fun to get out for a little while, and that's what we did. Suddenly, it dawned on me that there was something going on above us. I felt the currents and looked up. "What is it?" Wendy asked. "I don't know. There are all kinds of little dots in the distance," I said. "It seems like they are closer to the surface than to the bottom, but they are coming right at us. What do you think?"
"I'll go check,"
Marv said as he swam up. I hadn't expected such a sudden burst of courage from Marv, but I didn't protest. I was fine with it. Wendy and I watched him swim up to the thousands of tiny dots. We were curious. We had never seen so many little dots up there before.
So what do you think it is? Wendy asked again.
Fish, I guess, I said. We'll find out as soon as Marv comes back. I am sure he will tell us about it. It didn't take long before Marv returned, but it worried me how fast he was approaching us. When he was close enough to make himself understandable, he shouted,
"Get out of here! Back to the monument!"
Why, what is it? Wendy wanted to know.
"There's squid! Thousands of squid are coming our way! Let's go!"
It was a disaster. We hid behind a few columns in the underwater monument, but the squid were everywhere. With their massive numbers, they crept into every hole in the monument and barged through the front entrance, filling up each imaginable space in our home building. "Get out! Get out!" I yelled as I shot lasers at the incoming squid. "Don't touch me," Wendy said, as she fended off a few squid by extending her spikes. Marv was screaming and swimming away at the same time. The squid were all over him. I came to the rescue by killing some of them with my laser, but it wasn't enough. They crawled into every room and overpowered us with their tentacles, trying to eat us alive. I personally killed hundreds of them, some with my spikes and others with my lasers. I watched Wendy struggle as she shot the one squid after the other and threatened to go berserk. They were not impressed, and they kept attacking. Eventually, I came up with an idea. I had had enough of this. "Let's blow this room up," I told Marv and Wendy.
"But it's our beautiful room," Wendy said. "I love this room. I don't want to part with it."
"There's no other way," I said as I shot another squid. "It's the sacrifice we have to make." I listened for their response. They had none, so I did what I had to do. I shot lasers at the pillars that were holding up the ceiling. The pillars broke in two and collapsed, causing the entire structure surrounding that room to break and collapse as well. We hurried out of there before we were crushed and watched the debris rise as we held on to each other for life. When the remains were gone and the water had become clearer, most of the squid were buried underneath the structure. We cheered inside, but lamented our loss at the same time. We were victorious, but one of our favorite rooms had been destroyed. Those evil squid? Where did they come from? I wondered. Chapter 3. The Boat. "What happened here?" I asked. "The one moment we were playing hide and seek, and the next moment thousands of squid came our way? Something must have caused them to panic."
"I know," Marv said. "When I was up there, I saw a boat."
"A boat? What kind of boat?"
"It wasn't much, just a small rowboat. I think there was only one guy in there. He had some nets, and the squid were all coming at him. I don't know why."
Interesting. Where did you see it?"
"Well, directly above us, of course."
"Let's go check it out," I said. "Wendy, are you coming?"
"Yes," she said, still in tears. "Our beautiful room is gone. I want to know who did it. Where did all those squid come from? It's their fault."
We quickly swam up to the surface and saw the boat Marv had been talking about. It was a fisherman's boat. It was tiny and a net had been cast out. It was full of squid. I laughed, seeing that these stupid creatures couldn't go anywhere. We swam up even more, and our heads were partially above the water. I tried to look inside the boat. "More squid," I told my friends. "This guy's caught a lot of them, I guess."
"Anything else in there?"
Marv asked.
"What the?"
I suddenly said. "What is that? It's like a machine or something."
"I want to know too,"
Wendy said. Both Wendy and Marv swam up with their heads above the water, and each used their eye to see what I was seeing. The three of us were looking at a square-shaped machine, with vibrating systems and a little air vent on the back of it. I could tell that it ran on batteries, or that it got charged on the mainland, and that it was so heavy that the boat was slanted towards the back.
"Strange," Marv said.
"I've heard of those things," Wendy said.
"You have?"
"Yes, I think they're called resonators. When predators or dangerous animals are near, it drives them away by sending waves through the air.
It scares them.
Well, it didn't scare me, Marv said. The only thing that was a little scary was that there were so many squid.
Ha, I said. So you admit that you were scared, don't you?
Well, not really scared. It's just an expression, he said.
Sure, Wendy said with a smirk on her face. So what are you suggesting? I asked. The resonator drove the squid away, and then they all came at us. Does the resonator attract certain animals too? I asked. Why were they all around this boat? That's a good question, Wendy said. I suppose it does. Maybe that's how he caught so many squid in the first place. Chapter 4. Kill the Humans. We were floating halfway above the surface, still pondering the presence of the fisherman's boat and the mysterious resonator that had caused all the trouble. It was clear as glass. The fisherman had tried to catch a lot of squid by attracting them with his resonator, but when his nets became too full, he used the same resonator to repel the remainder, which had driven the squid into our direction and destroyed one of our prettiest rooms in the monument. It was because of the fisherman. It was his fault. Let's go kill that fisherman, I said. It's all because of him that we lost our room and were attacked by those squid.
Good idea, Marv said. Where is he?
How should I know? He obviously left the boat. Let's search the monument, I said. I bet he went down there to look for something. The three of us dove down to the bottom of the ocean, into the monument where we always resided. We searched and searched. We split up and swam around. After some time, we met in one of the main hallways. Did you see him yet? Wendy asked. Not yet. You? No, she said.
I haven't seen him either, man, Marv said. Maybe he died.
But before we could come up with any other ideas, we heard something. I figured it must have been him, and that he was now swimming around in our underwater monument. Shh, I said. Let's sneak up on him. We swam slowly and quietly towards the room where the sound was coming from. When we turned around the corner, we looked straight at him. The guy was wearing a snorkeling mask and some equipment. His chest was bare, and his swimming shorts were relatively long. Flippers were on his feet, and he was holding a small golden artifact in his hands. There was another sea creature as well, one of Wendy's friends, so there were 4 of us. We totally had him surrounded. Now all we had to do was go for the kill. But then I doubted, and the others were waiting for my signal since they considered me their leader. I knew we were planning on killing the human, but something was holding me back. At first, I didn't know why. Chapter 5. Providing is hard. My name is Jerry. I've been a fisherman all my life. I am a faithful husband to my wife and a father of 7 children. Let me just start off by mentioning the following. Providing is hard. Sure, there are seasons when there are plenty of fish in the ocean, but when they stay gone, hard work pays off only in small amounts. It's tough. I'm not going to lie. This month it had been nothing. It was like the ocean had emptied out all life or something, and I struggled to provide enough food for my kids. Every day I came home, my wife gave me a look full of expectations, only to be shot down by my lack of success. I hated it. It was frustrating. I knew there were fish in the ocean, but where would I find them? Each day I went out and cast my nets into the water. I did that hundreds of times per day, but on some days it just didn't happen. I caught nothing. Like I said, this month had been such a month, but the solution was not far away, and I didn't even realize it. I came home one day, feeling exhausted from throwing my nets into the ocean and pedaling back to the shore. My wife gave me the same look and was disappointed that all she could do that evening was serve soup for dinner. Nevertheless, she gave me a hug and told me she loved me. Thanks, I said. I love you too. I'm really trying my best. I know, she said, and that's good enough.
But it isn't, I said. I want to do better. I wish I could. Don't worry about it for now, she said. Just play with the kids until dinner. I hung up my coat and saw something falling out. It was a shrimp. Wow, I said. I guess I caught something after all. You did, my wife said. I will cut it into pieces and put it into the soup. It's just one shrimp, I said. It's okay. We haven't had shrimp in a while. I will optimize it and use it for the best. I betook myself to the living room and saw my 7 children, 5 daughters and 2 sons. Dad, the youngest girl said, did you catch any fish? I caught 1 shrimp, I said. That's awesome, my oldest son said. One day, Dad, I will be a fisherman just like you. Sounds good, son, I said. But you may want to consider other professions as well. The fishing business has been pretty bad lately. I am going to marry someone who is just as sweet as handsome as you, Dad, my oldest daughter said. I gave her a hug. I really loved my kids, and it hurt to see them starve or face my own failures as a provider. I was even considering looking for another job. Fishing had been too tough. Before dinner, a man came in. I greeted him as a friend, seeing that it was my pal, Nico. How have you been? I asked. Good. Listen, Jerry, I have something you may want to invest in. It's big. Invest? I said. I don't have any money. We barely have enough to keep ourselves alive. It's not a problem, Nico said. I talked to the vendor, and he is willing to loan you the machine until you can pay it off. You can do monthly payments, and this way, you will get a lot more out of your trips to the ocean. Machine? What machine? It's a brand new invention, my friend said. It's called a resonator, and it attracts animals to your boat. It has 2 kinds of waves, the kind that attracts and the kind that repels. You can use it to your advantage and catch enough fish to make a living that way. It almost sounds too good to be true, I said. And you're saying that I can pay it off later? Yes, absolutely. I looked at my wife and then looked at Nico again. Does it really work? I asked. I haven't tested it yet, but the owner is willing to let you try it with no cost involved. All you have to do is make sure it stays in your boat. If you lose it, then there are consequences. But if you can keep it above the water, it could benefit you greatly. What do you say, buddy? Are you willing to give it a try? I looked at my wife again. She nodded. We talked a little longer, and I agreed to borrow the machine. That night, my wife and I discussed what we should do to pay it off. If I can catch enough fish, I can pay it off within a year or so, I said. It would be okay, my wife said. But there is something else one of my friends in the village told me about. And what's that? Treasure, honey. There is a monument underneath the water somewhere, and supposedly it contains some treasure that you could use to pay it off instantly. Just think of it. If you could get a few valuable items, we would never go hungry again. I didn't have to think long. I was totally up for it. I will use the diving gear that Nico has in his shed, I said. Hopefully I can obtain some treasure by using that stuff. Tomorrow I will try the resonator and see if I can find that monument. Okay? I love you, she said. You're great. Chapter 6. Stupid Squid. The next morning, I left early, full of hopes and expectations. I went to borrow the resonator and dragged it into my little boat. It was extremely heavy, so at first I was afraid that my boat wouldn't hold it. But after some rowing around, I saw that it was going to be okay if I just divided the weight enough. And the adventure began. I borrowed the diving equipment, and I was on my way to find the monument people had been talking about. My mission was twofold: catch tons of fish with the help of the resonator, and find treasure to actually buy it if it works. I rode around for an hour or so, attempting to find the monument. After a while, the water became very clear. I saw some kind of a shadow near the bottom of the ocean. It seemed more shallow than other parts,
and I guessed it could have been the monument, according to the directions I followed. But first I was going to try the resonator. I turned it on, and the effects were amazing. I expected results, but nothing like this. Thousands of squid were attracted to the vibrations within minutes. The squid clumped together, leaving little space in between them. I cast my nets and caught as many as the nets could hold. After a while, however, the nets were full, and the squid were still coming. "That's enough," I said, but of course the squid weren't listening. They were still bumping against my boat. I left one net in the water and hauled another into the boat. The weight shifted, causing my boat to slant even more than it already did at first. "They're going to make my boat sink," I said in panic. "I have to turn this off." I crawled over to the net with squid and the equipment to the other side of the boat and turned the machine to the opposite level. Repel. Immediately the squid swam away, the ones that weren't choked to death at least. Phew, that was close. I almost lost my boat. I had more than enough squid to take home, but any more of those creatures would have caused my boat to sink. I was glad that I turned the resonator to the opposite level when I did, or it would have been disastrous. "Wow," I said with a sigh, leaning backwards. "That's a lot of squid. The resonator definitely works, but it shows that you have to know when to turn it off. I guess we'll be eating squid for the next few weeks." I stared at the clear blue sky, happy that I prevented my boat from sinking and that I had something to take home and feed my family. I didn't know if the kids actually liked squid and if the resonator would attract other fish in different areas as well, but it was better than nothing, way better than nothing. I was still amazed. Then I came to my senses and began to focus again. "The treasure," I said. "There must be treasure down there. The least I can do is take a look." I threw the anchor down. Then I put on my diving gear and dove into the water. The squid were all gone. I assumed I must have chased some of them into the underwater monument, but it wouldn't be a big problem. Or so I thought. Chapter 7. Treasure. When I came to the monument, I wondered if someone had actually built this thing underneath the water, or if it had been a structure on an island that had sunken or something. I concluded, however, that I would never find the answer, so I moved on. There were several openings to the magnificent building, and one of the rooms had collapsed. The workmanship was impressive, to say the least, and the details were abundant. I went through an opening to another room, and lucky me, I found an object. It was made of gold, and it was the only object around. I was so happy that I didn't even look much longer. This would suffice. This would pay off the resonator. It would be enough for my family to keep it and get more fish every day. I held onto it and swam away. But then, when I came around the corner, I saw 4 sea creatures lying in wait to shoot me with their lasers. The one in the front was staring at me with his big eye. I was terrified. As a fisherman, I had read all about sea creatures. Provoke them and they will always go for the kill. They are vicious, brutal creatures that protect their territory, especially ruins and monuments like this. Oh, why didn't I think of those before? Why did I have to take this terrible risk? My family needed me. I should have thought of the chance of seeing sea creatures here. And now I was going to die, leaving my wife as a widow and my children forced to be raised by a single mother who had hardly anything. Big mistake. Big mistake. I was going to die. This was it. This was the end. My watery grave would reflect my stupidity. I should have just left the resonator and taken the squid home. Eventually, I would pay off that expensive resonator if I just caught enough fish. Please, sea creature, please don't hurt me. I will do anything you want. Chapter 8. Confronted. This is Vance the sea creature again. I told you about the moment I saw the human. I told you about all the things that happened before that. This jerk used that resonator machine, or whatever it was, to attract the squid and then launch them, as it were, to our beautiful monument. He deserved to die. He crossed the boundaries, and he didn't care about the environment. If he had been a bit more considerate, he would have known that we were in here and that we hate squid. But when I saw him there, along with one of Wendy's friends, I held back. I looked at him. He was shaking with fear, and he was holding on to the golden object he had found. Was this guy a treasure hunter or a fisherman? It didn't matter. I saw right through him. It was almost like telepathy, but the look on his face told me that he wasn't just his profession. He was more than that. I felt weird, as if I could read his mind or something. I concluded, with the look on his face and the determination that he had to live, that he wasn't just a fisherman, a man, or some treasure hunter. He was a husband and father. He wanted to live for his family. And at that moment, I suddenly realized I would gain nothing by killing him. It wouldn't bring back the room we lost. It wouldn't reverse time. Besides, even though it was rough, we had had the pleasure of killing a few hundred squid, something that should have satisfied my cravings for vengeance enough. I raised my eyebrow and just stared at him. The others looked at me. At first, the man was covering himself, trying to protect himself from being shot by a laser. But when he saw that I didn't move a muscle, he slowly swam away. I let him go. Wendy and Marv looked at me.
"What was that all about?"
Marv asked.
"Why didn't we just shoot the guy? He stole from our monument and sent all the squid here. Besides, he was ugly, so why not?"
"He was a dad," I said.
"How do you know?"
Marv asked. "Yeah, how do you know?" Wendy repeated. "I saw it in his eyes," I said. "There are some things you can't see with the naked eye. Some things are only visible when you look with your heart. Listen, guys, I know we had every reason to kill him, but something was telling me he had a very important reason to live, not just for himself, but for others. Besides, killing him wouldn't help us gain anything, don't you agree?" "I guess so," Wendy said. "Good thinking. You're right."
"So what shall we do now?"
Marv asked. "Go and hide. I will count to 10, I said. And they left. The game was back on, the game we started before all the squid. We were about to have some fun again. The end. This has been Under the Sea, Diary of a Crazy Sea Creature, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. The Crazy Spider, Creation of the Perfect Web, Kids Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Speeder the spider gets washed away by the rain. He loses his home and is confused about what he should do. He has been trying to create the perfect web for a long time, but he hasn't succeeded yet. What will it take? The perfect web? Or is there no such thing? Along his search for truth, Speeder bumps into all kinds of challenges and perilous situations. His survival instinct kicks in when he needs to eat, but has a hard time finding a prey. The perspective of a spider is clearly visible in this book about a critter that often gets ignored or stomped on. Listen quickly to find out what Speeder does to find his identity and accept the world around him. Chapter 1. The Rain. The rain is dripping. Drip, drip, drip. Oh, now it's pouring. It's like a waterfall. Speeder hates days like this. They drive him crazy. All the drops from the rain are hanging in his web. He spent hours creating it, and now it's getting soaked by the rain. Well, that's just great. Anxiously and compulsively, Speeder tries to hit the raindrops so that they will fall out of his web. His web was so good, and now it's messy. It stinks. Besides, every time he makes a raindrop fall out of his web, it takes his web apart a little bit. It's not working. There is no other option than to leave them there and wait until the sun dries the water drops. He sits and waits. He watches the rain in the fields from underneath a branch on a tree. The branch provides him some shelter. It's at least something. What Speeder doesn't know is that the rain won't stop anytime soon. He is fairly new in this world, and his memory doesn't allow him to think back that far. Even though he has already withstood the tropical rains in the monsoon season, he doesn't remember it at all. So he waits and waits. He wants to see the rain end, but it won't stop. It's getting worse. Big drops are falling out of the sky and destroying his web. He buries his head in his 8 hands and starts complaining. The rainstorm doesn't end. It goes on for days. Speeder is hiding, but it's no use. He gets washed away by the rain. Giant streams of rainwater are coming down the hill, sweeping him off his feet and causing him to be dragged down by the current. He falls over and has a difficult time getting up. Stupid rain, he thinks. Chapter 2. The Flies. He climbs into the tree, away from his web. He is making that he is high and dry, but for some reason, climbing seems to be more enjoyable than he expected it to be. He climbs down. He climbs up. Climbing has become so much fun. Perhaps he is meant to climb, he thinks. When the rain settles down, when it slowly starts to rain less, he leaves the tree entirely and goes to a nearby building. It consists of a bunch of ruins left by some builder who didn't finish his project. The ruins are made out of some gravel and stone blocks, but he also notices some bedrock and sandstone blocks. It definitely is a mess, so he doesn't think there is anyone there or that there is anyone going to appear soon. But this is exactly what he is looking for, a place to climb walls. Climbing walls is the best thing in the world. Speeder loves it. He climbs up and down the cement rocks and the bricks, at least at first. His mind is a little scatterbrained, because after a while, even though he knows he is good at it, he is sick of it. That was fun, but now the fun is over. But what's that? He sees a fly, and another, and another. A whole swarm of flies is flying around the ruined structures. Looks yummy. Let's get them, he decides, saying it out loud. He jumps into the air, trying to snatch one of the flies away from the swarm. Missed. Well, this is frustrating. He lands on the wet soil and looks up. There they are, the flies. He has been feeling hungry for the past hour, so it's time to get a decent meal. But the flies are quick. They swirl around and don't follow any patterns. They are so random that it's hard to predict where they are going next. He jumps again and again with no success. He misses every fly in his sight. "Oh, come on," he shouts. "Stay still already. I've got to eat something. I am hungry." But the flies don't feel like getting caught. Aimlessly, they fly around like he isn't even there, and after a while, they disappear. Speeder is too hard on himself. Why can't he just catch a fly with jumping up or with a web? Perhaps he needs to look at a different way to get food. Perhaps he isn't meant to get flies. Why not? Speeder loves about everything that walks, flies, or swims. His hunger drives him to the village, where he will devour his next prey, or so he hopes. Chapter 3. Hunting. He is a hunter. He has decided to become the one chasing his prey. If the prey won't go into his web, then he has to take some initiative. These are the thoughts that go through Speeder's mind. He enters the village. It's quiet because of the rain that has started again. Nobody wants to be outside for this. It's terrible. But hey, what's that? A villager is walking around in this awful rain. Strange. Speeder doesn't care, however. All he cares about is having lunch ready. And his lunch seems to be walking around in the streets of the little town, all prepared to be eaten. Speeder sneaks up on him and jumps on him. But what he didn't expect is that the villager sensed it. He saw it coming. "Ah, you filthy spider!" the villager screams while kicking Speeder to the wall. Ouch, Speeder says. It isn't as easy as it appeared to be at first. But unlike the flies, this villager is big and cannot fly away. Another attack. Speeder pounces on the villager, but the villager knows how to defend himself. He already grabbed a pickaxe and is now swinging it in front of him, fending off the 8-legged animal. Speeder whacks the pickaxe out of his hands after a few hurtful blows. This is it. Finally, he gets to eat something. The villager is holding up his hand in front of his face, begging for the spider to save his life. But Speeder wants to eat. He has to eat. And to him, that's just life, no matter how unfortunate and unfair it is to the villager. Great, let's take the first bite. No more danger, no more threat. He gets to eat, and not just anything, but a delicious villager. Right when he is about to take his first bite, though, he gets hit on the head. Oof! He exclaims. What just punched him? He shakes his head and squints his eyes, trying to forget the pain that just hit him like a freight train. Within seconds, he opens his eyes and looks up. Whoa! A giant robot is standing in front of him, towering over him and looking very angry. Speeder is scared as a rabbit. He doesn't want to take on this guy, no way. As the villager keeps cheering his protector on, the robot moans and roars, getting ready to repeat a similar move to kill Speeder. The robot swings his long arm at him again, this time hitting him so hard in the opposite direction that he flings the poor spider 100 feet into the air. Speeder flies through the rainy sky, only a little conscious of what just happened to him. When he lands, the unstable roof of a deserted house breaks his fall. He groans. This hurts so much. How is he going to get away from this lethal assailant? He gets up and tries to find the big robot that just crushed his bones a little. Bang! The robot broke the wall of the vacant house. Speeder flies off the roof and hits the ground. The robot is coming at him with his fists clenched. As soon as Speeder gets on his feet, he runs away as fast as his 8 legs can carry him. The robot isn't giving up. He chases the terrified spider, knocking down everything standing in his way and stomping heavily on the shaking ground. What is Speeder to do? He looks around him after exiting the village. There, he says. He runs towards the river. Maybe robots won't be able to swim since they are so heavy and big. It's a guess, but it is Speeder's best shot for now. He runs towards the water and starts swimming, unwilling to look back, hoping for a chance of safety. Faster, faster! He swims and swims until he climbs onto the shore on the other side of the river. Then he looks back. The robot is just standing there, not moving a muscle. Obviously, he doesn't want to pursue the spider through the water. Just as Speeder suspected. The robot is made of iron, and iron doesn't go well with water. Besides, he would probably sink immediately if he would try to swim. Good, Speeder says. He continues his way and heads towards the forest, a little disappointed that he couldn't get his hands on a crunchy, yummy villager. Maybe he'll try catching smaller prey with webs again. The rain has stopped, anyway. Chapter 4. Webs. Back in the forest, Speeder has decided to start creating webs again. First, he needs to find a better location. He carefully observes the wind, the trees, and the branches. He looks at the open spots and the ones full of trees. He is picky, because this time he wants to get it right.
Hey, what are you doing here?
He suddenly hears. He turns around.
I'm sorry,
the spider says that just talked to him.
Let me introduce myself first. I am Roger the spider. What's your name?
Speeder.
Sounds like a nice name. So what are you doing all the way out here? I've never seen you here before.
My web broke because of the rain, and then I tried to eat a villager, but he was protected by a robot. It was awful. I nearly died.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to mess with those, Roger said. Robots hate spiders. They will crush you if you let them. I never come near them when I see them.
I wish I would have known that, Speeder says.
Well, you probably didn't see him coming, did you? Some villagers have a big guard like that because they know of the dangerous mobs and monsters in the forest. It makes sense. I would probably do the same if I were a villager.
Yes, Speeder says. It's silent. So what are you up to? Speeder asks.
We are having a web contest, Roger answers. You should participate. It would be awesome.
Sure, Speeder says. How many contestants are there?
Many, Roger says. Like, seriously, you don't even want to know. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to win. It's fun enough to compete. You get to show off your web to the ladies and learn a lot about creating webs along the way.
Sounds like fun, Speeder says. Let's go.
After a few minutes, they arrive at the location where all the spiders in the forest have gathered to compete against each other. Speeder looks with big eyes at the scene in front of him. There are hundreds of spiders in the trees, all of which are diligently creating webs with shapes and patterns Speeder has never seen before. Some have triangles or square patterns in their webs, while others made an effort to impress the judges by swirling their webs around branches in certain ways, or putting a symbol of some sort in the middle.
This is amazing, Speeder says.
Pretty impressive, isn't it? Roger says. Let's go tell them that you're here to be in the contest.
Okay.
Chapter 5. The Perfect Web. Roger helps Speeder sign in and is assigned a spot in one of the trees. The judges make sure Speeder gets fed, since he hasn't eaten all day. They feed him some flies they caught with their webs and tell him to start creating his web when he is done. He says a temporary goodbye, and Speeder gets to work. He starts designing. Difficult patterns and beautiful swirls are part of his web. He adds some twists by attaching certain threads to objects like rocks and flowers, trying to stand out from the rest.
It has to be perfect, he tells himself. It has to be perfect or else I won't win.
His web is low to the ground, something that gives him the benefit over the other contestants. Still, he isn't satisfied with what he has made so far.
Nice job,
Roger says as he walks by.
Well, I am not proud of it, Speeder admits. It's not good enough, but I don't know what it is missing.
I like it, but hey, what do I know? If you want some ideas, why don't you go check out some of the other webs and see if you can emulate their patterns?
That's a really good idea, Speeder says. I am glad you mentioned that. I can just copy what they are doing.
He leaves his web and walks around, looking at what others are doing. He is surprised by their creativity, but none of them are perfect. Some of them are elegant, some are spiky or round, and others are just big, but none of them are perfect. Speeder knows what to do now. How can these spiders overlook the fact that more is better? None of them have it all, so if he just integrates all the patterns he has seen into one web, then he will definitely beat the competition. With this plan in mind, he continues creating his web. Chapter 6. Perfectionism Broken.
Wow, you are going big, aren't you?
Roger says as he walks by.
Yes, it will be perfect,
Speeder says.
There is no such thing, Roger disagrees. Designing a web is an art. Everybody has their own style. You can try to perfect your web all you want, but that doesn't mean it's better. It also depends on the taste of the judges. If they don't like it, then you won't win.
Speeder shakes his head. He doesn't think Roger is right. Perfection is possible, and he knows it. If he can put all the patterns of the other ones in one, then he is lacking nothing and his web must be better. It makes complete sense to him. How could Roger not see it this way? Oh well. He shrugs and keeps working at it as hard as he can. After a while, the web begins to become a little unstable.
It's going to break,
one of the spiders says.
Oh no, of course not. It's perfectly fine,
Speeder says, denying what he is actually seeing. His web contains more than 100 patterns, which makes it hard for the branches to hold up. It's too heavy, and the branches that are holding it are already bending down. Speeder is a little annoyed, but he doesn't want to admit that this was a bad idea. He keeps working at his web. He keeps strengthening it wherever he can. But then, something really frustrating happens. Something none of the spiders could have predicted. It is a chicken. A chicken is running through the forest as if it lost its head, randomly bumping into trees and jumping over branches.
Watch out!
One of the spiders yells. But there is nothing Speeder can do about it. Helplessly, he watches as the chicken runs right through his delicate web and causes it to fall on the sandy ground.
No!
Speeder exclaims. The chicken gets stuck in one of the sturdier webs and gets captured and eaten by the other spiders. But despite the piece that gets distributed to Speeder, this discouraged spider is not happy. He lost his web, the web he worked on for hours and hours and hours. It's gone. It's all gone. Speeder feels like crying. Then his friend Roger approaches him and puts one of his 8 legs on his back, trying to comfort him.
How can I ever get it perfect if things like this happen? What a stupid chicken, Speeder says.
Well, Roger says, I hate to be the one to tell you the bad news, but your web was already breaking anyway. It was too complicated, too elaborate, and most of all, too heavy.
But that is the only way I knew how to make it. What am I going to do now?
Roger stares in the distance. He has to think about that for a minute. Too big, too complicated, collapses because it's too heavy, too many patterns. Friend tells him to just give it his own twist. This has been The Crazy Spider, creation of the perfect web, kids' adventure stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Super Sheep. Diary of a Heroic Flying Sheep. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Martin is a sheep. He is different from other sheep. He has superpowers. He doesn't exactly remember where he got them, but he is determined and has decided to use them for the good of other fellow sheep. He rescues sheep in distant areas, saves them from perilous circumstances, and protects his kind against a common enemy. Follow Martin's diary, a sheep with secret super strengths. Chapter 1. Super. My name is Martin, simply Martin. I am a sheep. Well, a ram actually, a male sheep. But we don't always say it that way in our flock. Sheep are sheep, male or female. So it's Martin, just Martin. Don't try to figure out my last name because I don't even know what my last name is. And recently, I discovered something. I have superpowers. Isn't that awesome? My superpower is that I can fly. Have you ever seen a flying sheep? I bet you haven't. I mean, I never knew sheep could fly, and honestly, I was the only one. A flying sheep. Isn't that crazy? Okay, let me first tell you how I found out. I was standing there with 50 other sheep. We were all eating grass. That's what we do, so that's what we did. My life was good, but it wasn't unique. I didn't care. I just liked the grass, and that satisfied my cravings. While I was eating and taking my time, I saw something emerging from behind the hill. It came closer and closer. It approached us with great speed. Before I knew it, it blew into my face. Whoosh! Whack! I tried to get it off my face, but it was covering all of my head, surrounding it. My friends looked at me as I was running in circles and moving my head up and down, shaking my legs and tail. Take it easy, one of them said after a while. It's just a piece of fabric. When I calmed down, I was able to put it on the ground and analyze it. I looked down and saw a red cape. I had never seen one before, and I had no idea where it came from, but it was mine. I found it, and I was going to put it on, just for fun. Looks like nature just gave you a present, the sheep said. Cool, I'm going to try it on, I said. When I put it around my neck, I still didn't know what I was getting myself into. It felt like a regular cape, but it also had some kind of glow or power to it. The others didn't sense it, and I was reluctant to point it out because I didn't even know what was happening to me. I felt a sudden rush of energy and became a little lightheaded. I liked it. I savored the new strength flowing through my blood, and it was awesome. Later that evening, I was away from the flock. I was by myself in a remote location on the same grass field but under a tree in the shade. And there I saw it. It was an apple, a single delicious fruit snack waiting for me to devour it. I reached up and even stood on 2 feet, attempting to get closer and pull it off the tree, but it was too far. And then it happened. As I tried to go higher, suddenly, I did. I floated up and bit the apple with my sharp teeth. Then I looked down and screamed, "Ah!" I fell down again. What was that all about? How did I get so high above the ground? I looked up. The apple was really high up there. I was puzzled and looked at the grass again. I didn't understand it, but I knew one thing. The apple was yummy. I wanted more of it, so I tried to reach for it again and floated up again. This time I was mentally prepared for it, so I wasn't scared anymore. I looked down while floating in the air. Wow! Was I actually floating? It just barely hit me that I could do that. Perhaps it was the cape. Let's test this thing, I thought. I landed and took off the cape, after which I reached for the apple again, but this time I couldn't do it. Yep, it had to be the cape. This was going to be the final test. I put the cape back on and tried to fly up again. Yeah, this was the bomb. I could fly. I didn't wait any longer. I was going to use this newfound superpower and have the best time of my life. I flew away from the trees and sped into the air, higher and higher until I reached the clouds. Whoosh! I soared above the clouds and looked down on the valley with the little specks that didn't look like sheep anymore. It was an amazing view, and I felt free. I ascended above the mountains and did some circles and moves before I flew back down. I landed. I was still in shock, and I was super excited. The future looked bright because I could fly! Chapter 2: The Little Lost Lamb. I soon found out what these superpowers were good for. The alarm was intense when every other sheep was talking about the same thing, the lost little lamb. Have you heard about Sally? She got stuck somewhere, didn't she? Poor little lamb. She is only a few years old and already getting lost. Where did the mother go? She is out there looking for her. She said she only turned the other way for 10 seconds and then Sally disappeared out of sight. Is anyone else looking? No, they say she is too far gone anyway. Plus, they have a hard time leaving the fenced area. What can we do? And that was the moment I stepped forward. Fear not, loyal sheep citizens, I said in a low but confident voice. Your rescue has come. Martin, the super sheep, will save your Sally. All the sheep stopped talking and looked at me. Some of them were dumbfounded and had the bottom of their mouths fall wide open. I stood there like a heroic champion, but nobody had seen me do anything out of the ordinary yet, so they started laughing. Ha ha ha, someone said. And what are you going to do? Attract the lamb with your red cape? It's not a bull, you dummy. I could tell that they were not impressed. They didn't even know about my superpower to fly yet, but they were about to find out. I took off. I ascended and flew above their disbelieving heads. They were trying to see where I was going, but I was too fast. I wasn't going to wait for their praise. I had a duty to my fellow sheep. Sally was lost, and I would get her back. I kept flying and headed south, over the hills and through the trees, around the mountain and towards the deserted plains. And that's where she was. Sally! I shouted. She didn't hear me. Sally! I yelled again. No answer, but it didn't matter. She was about to get rescued. I flew down and picked her up. Wah! She shrieked. Don't worry, kiddo, I proudly said. You are safe with me. But it was too early to celebrate because in front of me, a large group of crows was flying at me. I didn't think they were aiming for me. They were just going into the opposite direction of where I was heading, and they just happened to get in my way. The giant black birds were cawing loudly, and increasing in speed. "Hang on," I told Sally. I clung to her and made sure she was protected. The crows flew by, and some of them accidentally bumped into me. Thousands of crows were making noise and speeding through the sky. After a few more hits, I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't safe up there. "We're going to land," I said. "Don't let go." I dashed down and landed as softly as possible. Phew, that was close. The crows were all above us now. They couldn't harm us anymore. We waited, and eventually all the crows had gone away. "Let's get you back to your mother," I said. I grabbed onto her and flew up again. After a little while, we reached the grass fields. "There's Mommy," Sally said. We flew down and I handed her over to her mom. The mother sheep and the little lamb hugged for a moment and then thanked me elaborately. The other sheep were amazed. I got lots of compliments, some requests to show them a few tricks, and the best grass for myself in the field. And since then, my journey to being a superhero had started. A super sheep hero. Chapter 3. Blown Away. The interesting thing was that all the sheep started to rely on me, that they saw me as their leader or exemplar after that. They were impressed, obviously, and they were showing it through their gratitude and the privileges they gave me. From the moment I had been flying in front of them, they gave me the best spots, the best water, and the most shade in the summer. In return, I would perform tasks for them and help them out whenever they needed me. One time, they desperately wanted me to help. I didn't even know it at the time, but we were in a dangerous zone. Tornadoes had been spotted in the area, and one of them was just coming our way.
"We're all going to die,"
one of the sheep cried.
"There is nothing we can do," another said. "We're going to be blown away or get caught up in the tornado. We are doomed." "Let's ask Martin. He'll know what to do,"
one of the sheep suggested. I was just taking it easy, eating grass, and flying up to eat apples from the trees. And suddenly the entire flock came to me. One of them stepped forward and had the floor.
"We need your help," she said. "A tornado is coming this way, and we don't know what to do."
"A tornado?" I asked.
"Yes."
"A tornado?" I asked again.
"Yes, are you deaf? It's a tornado. That's what I said."
"Wow," I said. I was afraid. I didn't know what to do about a tornado. Seriously? Yes, I could fly away, but I wouldn't be able to stop a tornado from coming there. The other sheep expected much out of me, but I just didn't know if I could live up to those. "I guess I could pick you up and fly you out of here," I said.
"But then our land will still be destroyed," they protested. "The grass will be gone and all our food as well. Isn't there anything you can do to stop the tornado?"
"No, I don't think so. Can't the herder do something? Or the farmers who live a mile away from here?" I knew that wasn't going to cut it. Something else had to be done. But how could I ever stop a tornado? The idea itself was insane to begin with. The little radars in my creative brain started working, and suddenly I had an idea. "I don't know if it will work, but I can give it a try," I said.
"What? What are you going to do?"
the sheep asked. "Go against the wind."
"Huh?"
"Just stay here. I will take care of it. Let's go, tornado. You and me." They didn't know what to say. Nobody understood what I was up to, and I didn't want to waste my time explaining it to them. I had a mission, and I wasn't going to let them distract me. I flew up to spot the tornado. Once I was a few hundred feet above the ground, it was easy to see it in the distance. It was destructive, all right. I already saw it ripping trees from the soil, moving other objects into the air, and spinning them round and round. It was a brutal force of nature. I flew closer and breathed in deeply. Then I did it. At first, it didn't do much, but after a while, I started seeing some effects. The tornado was spinning clockwise, and I was flying counterclockwise. The faster I went, the more I could reverse the wind. It was hard, and I didn't even know I could fly that fast, which was why I had my doubts before I began. However, as I kept flying against the wind in circles, the tornado force became less strong. "Ah, you're going down, tornado!" I yelled, while squinting my eyes and flying faster than a sheep has ever done in history. Slowly but certainly, the tornado moved towards the grass fields, but its strength became diminished by the minute. As I glanced down, some of the sheep were looking up and pointing at the strange phenomenon. A super sheep with a cape flying in the opposite direction of a tornado wind. I didn't look down for more than a second because I had to focus, and after a while, the tornado ceased entirely. Was I dizzy? Oh yeah. Was I proud? Certainly. I looked at the possible disaster I had just stopped and floated above the ground for a little while. Then I almost dropped, barely maintaining my balance. Eventually, I really fell down, landing in a tree that broke my fall. "Ouch," I said. The other sheep came to watch me. "Is he going to be okay?" one of them asked. "He looks dead," another said. "No, he can't be. Martin is our super sheep. He can never be defeated." Then I groaned. "Ugh, this hurts," I said. "He is alive," one of the sheep said. "Let's help him down, quickly." They helped me down and put me on the grass. I was still hurting, but I knew it would heal soon. Everyone was surrounding me. "Wow, that was amazing," one of the sheep said. "You just stopped a tornado, dude," another said. "You are the man." "Thanks," I said. "I'm a little dizzy, though. I would like to go to sleep now." I could hardly believe it myself. It was something no sheep would have ever dreamed of. I was a hero, and I had saved their beautiful grass. But the trials were not over yet. Chapter 4. The Endless Abyss. 2 days later, another sheep was missing. I didn't know why or how they always managed to run away, but if you didn't know already, sheep can be pretty stupid sometimes. They just follow the rest of the flock, or they are wired to change their direction without thinking about it or having a real goal. This one's name was Vimo. He was the sheep who always reminded everyone of everything. "Make sure you close the gate," he would say, or "Don't eat too much grass, leave some for others. It's not healthy to start binge eating anyway." According to some, he had bonked his head or some tree branch had fallen on him, after which he went completely nuts. He was scatterbrained and had left the premises, wandering off to the mountains or something. The sheep told me about it and begged me to go and get him. "Okay, but you better keep an eye on him when he gets back," I said. "Sure, but could you please just get him?" "Absolutely, no problem." And I took off, flying towards the mountains. It took a long time before I found him. He was so far gone that I assumed he had probably left the flock during the night and walked all day. When I found him, he was sleep drunk. He had no clue what he was doing, or so I thought. "Hey, Vimo," I shouted from the sky, flying above him with my red cape. "I'm going to take you home, buddy. Are you ready to go?" No. Must find the Iron Fist. The Iron Fist is here. I must find it. I cannot go back. Important." I thought he had lost his marbles. He was so far gone. Mentally, I mean. "There is no Iron Fist, Vimo," I said. "You must have imagined it. Don't worry about it. Let's go home now." "No. Must find the Iron Fist. I know it's here. Find the Iron Fist." "Vimo, it's okay. Let's just go." He was really losing it, and now he was climbing over the edge of a steep cliff. "Vimo, don't go down there. You're going to die." But it was too late. He had already put one foot over the edge and was about to fall. The canyon was so deep that I couldn't even see the dark bottom in the beginning. Hitting the ground would certainly end in death. I didn't hesitate. I had to take action at the exact moment it was happening. And there I went, flying after the falling sheep. He didn't make a sound, he just let himself fall. I, on the other hand, yelled his name as I sped down. "Vimo!" I went faster and faster, beating gravity, the real and only enemy I was facing at that moment. I was gaining on him. It all happened within a few seconds. A few feet away from the ground, I snatched the delusional Vimo and flew up again, feeling my heart beat 1,000,000 times per minute, as it were, and feeling relieved that I had barely saved this sheep's life. "What are we going to do with you, Vimo?" I asked. He didn't answer. He was a hopeless mental case. Or was he? Chapter 5. Dark and Dreary. Another sheep needed to be rescued. It was a week later, and the other sheep had kept Vimo within the boundaries of the field. Luckily, he hadn't wandered off anymore, even though he still kept rambling on about the Iron Fist every day. The sheep that needed to be rescued was another weirdo that had always been a little off. She had left the flock and gone into some cave, too curious to resist the temptation of looking inside. "Where is the cave?" I asked the other sheep.
"On the other side of that mountain," the sheep said. "It should be easy to find."
I left and hurried to the cave. "Whoa," I said when I found it. "That's pretty dark." It was. It was as dark as the night. No, darker actually. I couldn't see anything. "Hello? Is anybody there?" I shouted. I heard a sheep in the distance. "Follow my voice," I shouted again. Then it became clearer.
"I am stuck," she said. "My leg is stuck in a cavity in the rocks here."
"Okay, I will come and get you." That was harder than I thought. It was so dark that I couldn't even see my hoof in front of me. I bravely went in and trusted my instincts to follow the sound of the damsel sheep in distress.
"Please help me," she whimpered. "Please."
The whining became so heartbreaking that I was determined to get her out, just to be rid of the noise. But it didn't work. The obscurity had overcome me. I was a little lost and decided to go back. Fortunately, it worked out that way, and I found myself outside. Sorry, I thought to myself. There is no way I can go in there without a light. What was I going to do? My flying superpowers couldn't help me here. I walked back and forth, trying to think of a creative solution. Then I had it. I was going to build a fire and make a torch. I had never done it before, but I had heard of people who had succeeded by scratching the surface of specific rocks and creating a spark. I gathered some dry wood and some other materials and kept trying for a half hour. Finally, a sparkle of hope, and a real sparkle that would kindle the fire. I blew and made the fire turn into something valuable and useful. With that, I lit the branch I had put together and took the self-made torch into the cave. "Coming, coming," I said. Eventually, I reached her. "How long have you been in here?" I asked.
"For hours," she said, still crying a little. "Please get me out."
"That's precisely what I am going to do," I said. I pulled and pulled. We did it together, combining our strengths and eventually getting her leg out of the cavity of the rocks.
"Ow, ow, 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 it hurts," she whined.
I sighed. She couldn't walk, so she couldn't follow me. I knew what I had to do, and I wasn't looking forward to it. "Fine," I said. "I will carry you. Come on, hop on my back." After I said it, I kept my promise and carried her all the way out of the cave. She was holding the torch, lighting the way and helping our teamwork along. When we were out of the cave, I was still holding on to her and flew her out of the rocky area, back to the grass fields where the other sheep resided. I received a warm welcome, and everybody partied that evening, celebrating the safe return of one of their beloved family members. I had done it again. I had played the hero, and I had made it. But one of the sheep was not celebrating. Chapter 6. A Watery Grave. That evening, the night of the party, one of the sheep came to me.
"We need your services again," he said. "Another sheep has been dumb enough to drift off the beaten path, and when I say drift, I literally mean drift."
"What do you mean then? I don't understand," I said.
"The river," he said. "One of the rams, my cousin, was drinking water, and suddenly he got swept away by the river. It has been about an hour now since it happened. Could you go get him? We have no clue where he is."
"Sure," I said. "It will be a little hard to find him in the dark, but I will do my best."
"Thank you. Thank you so much."
I left the party. It seemed like there wasn't a moment that I could sit still or relax a little. Duty called, and I had to go out again. When I flew around the mountain, I saw the flowing river. It was wild and boisterous. The rigid rocks in the middle of it caused the streams to deter from a straight path. The sounds were overwhelming and lively. It definitely wasn't a river to mess with, a river so wild that I didn't think a sheep would survive in it. I assumed any sheep would drown in here immediately, but for some reason I still had some hope. There was something in me, a hunch or feeling that told me I still had a chance, so I flew over the river, calling for the sheep and hoping he would hear me. I didn't get a response, but after some time I saw a sheep stuck behind a rock. "There he is," I said out loud. "Don't worry, I will get you out of there." I flew over and saw him holding on for life, making sure he wouldn't be swept away by the current and thrown against the rock on the bottom of the watery depths. I swallowed and thought of the horrible death that drowning would be, but I shoved the thought aside and came closer to help him. When I tried to pull him out, however, the rock chipped off, and he fell into the water. "No!" I yelled. Instantly, I dove under the water and looked for him. I couldn't see him, and I had a hard time fighting against the curvy current myself. I caught my breath when I reached the surface and looked again. Aha! There he was, completely knocked out and drifting away towards a waterfall. I flew out of the water, happy that I hadn't lost my cape underwater. Then I flew towards him. He fell down the waterfall, but I was fast enough to reach him before he made a huge splash and hit the bottom of it. As I flew underneath him, he fell on my back and I brought him to the riverbed, after which I put him down and did some CPR, or, well, sheep PR. He coughed and spat out the water he had swallowed. Then he smiled because he knew he was safe. "Let's get you back," I said. I took him back to the flock, where they were still celebrating the previous rescue. When they saw I rescued another sheep, they partied even more, cheered even louder, and brought out more grass snacks. It was a night to remember. Chapter 7. The Threat. We were drinking water and eating grass snacks all night. Sheep parties don't get more complicated than that. But it was a lot of fun, until someone else came to me. This time, the message wasn't about a lost sheep. It wasn't about some natural element or a rescue mission. It was about a real enemy, a threat to the flock. "We have seen footprints in the mud," one of the rams told me. "We think they are from a wolf." "Do you have any idea where they are?" I asked. "No, but I am sure it will attack the flock sometime. We have talked about it already, and some of the sheep are scared. Do you think you can punch or kick that wolf so hard that it will run away and leave us alone?" "Sure, I am a super sheep, so that should work, I think." I wasn't certain, though. Just because I could fly and because I was fast didn't mean I knew how to fight a vicious predator. That night I couldn't sleep. I was worried. The threat was serious, and I didn't know if I could protect the flock this time. The next day, the same topic was the center of discussion, the wolf. Some of the sheep had even seen it outside the fences. And since it hadn't jumped on any of the sheep yet, they were concerned that the wolf had bigger plans, or was going to outsmart them. But none of that was about to happen. The wolf would simply come and rely on the fact that we couldn't leave the area anyway. That same afternoon, it did happen. The wolf jumped over the fence and stood in front of the flock. The sheep all flinched and stood inside the fence. The wolf had them cornered. They couldn't go anywhere. But then I came forward. I stood in between the sheep and the wolf. The wolf was drooling and said, "What is this? A sheep with a cape? What are you going to do, dress me up? Ha ha ha!" "No, I am going to beat you up," I said, after which I flew forward with great speed and punched the wolf in the face. But it didn't work. I mean, I hit him, I made sure of that, but he just didn't care. I punched him again, this time on his back, flying around in circles and attacking him occasionally from a different angle. After about 4 or 5 hits, I was done. "Impressive," he admitted. "I never expected a sheep to fly, but your attempts are futile. Each punch you throw at me only makes me hungrier." He was right. The hits just didn't hit him hard enough, even after coming at him fast. It just didn't hurt much, and if it continued that way, he was going to win the fight. "Are you finally done?" he asked. "A blade of grass has a bigger impact on me than your punches. They're pathetic." What was I going to do? Chapter 8. Super Sheep Will Win. I flew back to the sheep, hoping to safeguard them against the wolf, but feeling more desperate every minute. He came closer and closer. I knew I could fly away, but then I would abandon the flock and leave them to a lethal fate. All of a sudden, Vimo spoke up again. "The Iron Fist," he said. Then it hit me, the thought of getting an iron fist and beating the wolf. If it really existed, it would be a helpful tool indeed. "Hold on," I said to the wolf. "You know I could fly away if I wanted to, right?" "Sure, but then I would just devour your friends here." "But what if you could eat a flying sheep?" I asked. "Wouldn't that be something to be more proud of? And perhaps I would even taste better. What do you think?" The wolf thought for a moment and said, "I am listening. What do you have in mind?" "Well," I began, "I am just not prepared right now, but if you come back tomorrow, I promise to fight you and surrender if you win. Then you can eat me instead of my friends." He said. "That sounds like a pretty good deal. Sure, let's do it. I will be back tomorrow afternoon. If you're gone by then, I will eat all these sheep. If you are there, I will try to defeat you, but you better not be flying away." "You can count on me," I said. Then he left. We all watched him until he was completely out of sight. "What are you doing?" one of the sheep asked after a while. "You will get killed. Without your ability to fly, he will overpower you. You know that." "But he doesn't know about the Iron Fist," I said. I flew away and heard them say in the background, "The Iron Fist? What's that?" That smart, crazy Vimo. What an idea! I had heard of Iron Fists before. They were like gloves that you could put on your hoofs and become super strong. If I could only find that object Vimo had been searching for all along, I could beat that wolf until he would be knocked out. I didn't wait any longer and started my search that day. I was sure I would be able to find it within a day, so I flew towards the canyon where I had almost seen Vimo fall to his death. I flew all over the place, looking for a black, fist-like object. It took hours until I realized Vimo had probably jumped off the edge because the Iron Fist was somewhere at the bottom. Vimo was just too crazy at the time to realize that if he would jump down, he would die before he found it. I flew all the way down and looked everywhere in the hollow cavities, under the bushes, and on ledges. "Aha!" I exclaimed. "There it is! That silly Vimo! He was right after all." I took the Iron Fist glove and tried it on. "Let's see how strong this weird item really is," I said. I stretched my hoof and punched it against the wall. Bang! The wall burst and a huge crack became visible. "Wow," I said in amazement. "With this thing, I could punch through the mountain if I kept trying. And if it does this to the canyon, then I cannot even imagine what it would do against the wolf. Ha ha! Bring it on, wolf!" I flew home with it and kept it safe under the apple tree. I slept well that night, with the certainty of victory to come. When I woke up by the shining rays of the morning sun, I yawned and put a smile on my face. It was time to take out the trash. The wolf showed up in the afternoon, as promised, and all the sheep gathered in the corner again. They were still scared, since the wolf could be unpredictable and treacherous. They didn't trust it, but I thought the sheep were not being very clever by being in the corner again, since it didn't allow them to go anywhere. Ugh, sheep are really stupid sometimes.
Ready for a fight, super sheep?
The wolf asked while licking his mouth. I put the cape down, showing him that I was willing to fight him without the ability to fly. I am prepared to face you, ugly head, I said. He ran at me, knowing that I wasn't as quick anymore. I was an easy target, and he was confident that he would defeat me within seconds. But then I pulled out the iron fist and slid it over my hoof. I raised my hoof and... thud! I punched the wolf so hard that he flew back 20 feet and landed face first on the grass. He moaned, and the sheep cheered for joy. "Hit him again," one of the sheep said. I walked towards the wolf. He growled. He probably thought it was just a lucky hit, so he tried again. He spit at me and tried to grab me. Bam! I punched him in the stomach. He tried to breathe, but instead, he fell forward face first on the grass again. "Yay!" all the sheep behind me cheered. "Have you had enough?" I asked. The wolf looked up. He couldn't believe how strong I was. When he could finally talk again, he stammered,
"Whoa, what is that thing?"
"Oh, this? It's just another magical item you can find in these lands. You know, there are pearls, eggs, potions, and many other strange objects in this environment. Either way, I am strong and you are weak, so get out of here. I never want to see you again." The wolf yelped with his tail between his legs and ran away. The other sheep came towards me.
"How did you do that? What is that glove?" they asked.
Let's just say that Vimo wasn't as loopy as we thought he was. He definitely wasn't all there, but something had told him where to find this iron fist. Thanks, Vimo. Vimo was happy. I could tell. He smiled and nodded. Then I said, "Now that we got rid of the wolf, who is up for another party with grass snacks and water?"
I am.
Let's get this party started." That evening there were no more threats, no more worries. Everything was fine. The end. This has been Super Sheep, Diary of a Heroic Flying Sheep, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Sea Adventure for Kids. Story about a grandpa sea creature and his granddaughter. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. The relationship between a grandfather and granddaughter becomes apparent in this ironic, inspirational story about a sea creature. They are a little slower and move around less, and so does this one. His name is Murray, and when his granddaughter comes and asks him a lot of questions about life, he can't help but tell about his adventures and experiences, only to realize later that he can learn something from her as well. Curious yet? Then start listening now. Chapter 1. Wisdom. "Grandpa, how old are you?" the young girl creature asks. Grandfather swims around a little bit, opening his one eye and looking at the curious kid-girl creature following him. "Why do you want to know?" he asks. "Just curious. You must have learned a lot by now. You must be really smart." Murray, the sea creature, turns around and looks at his granddaughter. "Look, Lucy," the little girl creature says. "Right, Lucy. You don't ask old girl creatures how old they are. I am a sea creature. Isn't that enough to know?" "I guess," Lucy says. "But I learned that the older you are, the wiser you are. Are you wise, Grandpa?" Murray thinks for a moment. "I suppose you can say that I have my fair share of knowledge," he admits. Is there anything in particular you want to know?
Well, I think you are smart, Lucy says. I was just wondering if you could tell me one of the most important things you've learned. You know, like advice that I can learn from as well.
Murray thinks again. This little female girl creature is throwing him off guard. He didn't expect all these questions. But then again, he has nothing else to do. He has been swimming in circles for the past few hours, and this girl creature might just be his next entertainment. If he thinks hard enough, he could teach this young one a lesson or two, and she would be grateful for it. I'll tell you about something that happened to me, he says, and then you can learn from it. How does that sound?
Great, Lucy says.
It was some kind of squid.
Squid?
Yes, squid. It was a squid that followed me around a few years ago. I don't like squid. How about you?
Never. I hate them, Lucy says.
Good. Anyway, he was following me around and I asked him what he was doing. And before I knew it, he went inside one of the underwater temples I was guarding and stole precious diamonds from it. At first I chased him, but after a while I lost him. It was hard to see because the water was turbid and murky. It took me hours to find him. When I saw him, I chased him again, but he was just faster than I was. I yelled and screamed, shooting lasers at the pillars and walls to make some of the rooms collapse. But after a while, I calmed down and thought, what do a few diamonds matter anyway? I hated the squid, but I didn't care about the diamonds anymore. Now, what do you think you can learn from that, Lydia?
Lucy says, reminding her grandfather what her name is.
Oh, yes, Lucy.
Well, I think you did great, she says. It sounds like you were angry at first, but then you calmed down.
Exactly. If there is anything I learned in life, it's to stay calm. You can't let things get to you, not even an evil squid who steals stuff.
Got it. I will try to remember it, Grandpa.
Good, Murray says.
Chapter 2. Creative.
What else do you want to know? Murray asks.
Well, you told me to always stay calm, even if a squid steals your diamonds, Lucy says. What else have you learned in life? What can I do to have a better future?
You're just a curious little booger, aren't you? Murray says.
Lucy smiles. She is a smart girl creature, and she wants to learn from the best. If there is anything another girl creature has learned from experience, she wants to know about it, so she doesn't have to run into the same problems or flaws in her personality. It's becoming a big pep talk, though, something she doesn't realize, but loves nonetheless.
Okay, another life lesson, Murray begins. I ran into the same squid again. This time it was in a cave. It sounds strange, but fate just arranged it that way. When I saw him, even though I was calm inside, I talked to him. Hey, you, I shouted. You owe me new diamonds. Come here immediately. The squid didn't move a muscle. I could tell he was afraid, so I moved forward to get to him. I saw fast. But as soon as I came really close, he quickly evaded me and I crashed into a wall. So I tried something else. I shot lasers at him. Whoosh, whoosh, zap, zap. I kept shooting, but it had no effect. The stinker knew exactly how to dodge my lasers. After a few more of my futile attempts, the squid tried to swim away, but in order to get out of the cave, he had to swim past me. Come and get me, I said. The squid didn't want to pass me, but he had to, so as quickly as he could, he tried to swim over me. And do you know what I did at that moment?
Tell me, Grandpa.
I extended my spikes. It hit the squid, who got wounded and dropped one of his diamonds. Ha! I had the diamond back.
Wow, Lucy says.
You see, kiddo, what was your name again?
Lucy, the little girl creature says, laughing at Murray's forgetfulness.
Oh, yes. You see, Lucy, as sea creatures, we can extend our spikes and shoot lasers. I used both techniques,
but they didn't both work. What can you learn from that?"
Lucy thinks for a few seconds and then says, "That sometimes you have to try different methods and continue with the one that works."
"You're right. You know, you really are smart."
"Thanks, Grandpa. Did you ever happen to get the other diamond back?"
"Well, yes," Murray says.
"Could you tell me what you did to get it back?"
"Sure, it's quite the adventure. Here we go."
Chapter 3. The Second Diamond.
"So I was looking for the second diamond. The squid still had it. I looked everywhere in the ruins, the palace, and even in the vast emptiness of the ocean. But it seemed like the squid had disappeared. I knew I wasn't as fast as the squid, so if I found him, I would have to sneak up on him."
"So did you find him?" Lucy asks.
"Not at first, I didn't, but after a lot of searching, I noticed that he was hiding in between some seaweed. However, the diamond was gone. He didn't have it with him. I was surprised, and I wondered what he did with it."
"Did you ask him?"
"Don't get ahead of the story, Missy," Murray says with a smile.
"Sorry," Lucy says.
"Anyway, I went after him, but at a distance, making sure he wouldn't notice me. When I came close enough, I hit him to the bottom of the ocean and knocked him out."
"Wow, you are really brave, Grandpa."
"Thanks, Layla."
"Lucy."
"Oh, sorry, Lucy then. Do you want to hear the rest of the story?"
"Yes, of course," Lucy says.
"Then stop interrupting me, please. I'm trying to remember where we were. What did I say last?"
"You knocked out the squid."
"Oh, yes," Murray says. The squid. I knocked him out, and when he was unconscious, I tied him to a rock."
"Why did you do that?"
Lucy asks.
"So I could question him. You know, I didn't care about the squid, so why are we even talking about the squid? I wanted my diamond back, and that's what I am trying to tell you, kiddo. If you want something really badly, you have to go after it and not give up. Never give up."
"Got it, Grandpa. I never give up either."
"I didn't give up," Murray says. "I was determined. I waited until the squid woke up and started interrogating him. 'Where is the diamond?' I asked.
'I don't know what you're talking about,'
the squid said. 'Don't play games with me. I know you stole 2 diamonds. I only retrieved one of them. Where is the other one?'
'Who knows? It could be anywhere,' the squid answered.
Okay, I said. 'If you want to play it that way, then I can do that. Now give me something I want to hear, or I will shoot you with my laser. And this time, since you are tied up, there is no way you'll be able to evade my shots.'
'Fine, I will tell you. I don't have it. I was indebted to a white shark. I borrowed money from him to help out a friend, and I couldn't pay the shark back. That's the honest truth.'
'So where is the white shark now?' I asked.
'On the other side of the reef,'
the squid said.
'I had to get the money somewhere. Hopefully there is still a way to get it back. He said he would eat me if I wouldn't pay him, so I stole the diamonds from you. It's the only shark that's white. I am sure that you could spot him in no time.'
'So is your debt paid off then?' I asked.
'Yes, of course. I just wanted to make sure the diamonds would add up to the equal value of what I borrowed. That's why I took 2 of them. But apparently only one was enough.'
'But you still stole what wasn't yours,' I said. 'And you only needed 1 diamond to pay off the shark.'
'I know, but I had to do it to save my life,'
the squid said. 'Well, stealing is still stealing,' I said. 'Consider this a warning.' With those words, I slapped him with my tail and knocked him out again. I untied him and left him there between the seaweed. Stupid squid."
"Whoa, you sure showed him, Grandpa," Lucy says.
"I sure did, kiddo. I sure did."
Chapter 4. Patient.
"Grandpa, did you ever get that second diamond back or not?"
Lucy asks.
Oh, yes, the second diamond from the shark.
Exactly. Did you already forget?
No, not really, Murray lies. I just wanted for you to ask, that's all.
Well, are you going to tell me? Lucy asks.
Of course, Lily, of course.
It's Lucy! Ha ha!
Lucy says. I knew that, Murray says. I was just testing you. I know your name. Anyway, the way I got the diamond back was by going to the shark. It was a dangerous journey. The sharks were everywhere. I am sure that if they had seen me, they would have eaten me.
Did you get eaten by a shark? Lucy asks.
No. If I would have, I wouldn't be here now, would I?
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Murray continues. I snuck around, but I stayed near the bottom of the ocean where it's darker. The sharks didn't see me there, and whenever they came closer, I just dove into the sand and covered myself with it. Then they would just swim by without seeing me. It was pretty scary sometimes, and I knew I could always extend my spikes to stop them from eating me, but I didn't want to take the risk.
I wouldn't either.
So there's another lesson, kiddo. Better safe than sorry. Always go for safety.
I'll remember that, Grandpa.
So there I was, trying to avoid all those sharks, when suddenly I saw the white shark. The squid was right. There was only one white shark.
At least he didn't lie about that, Lucy says.
No, he didn't. But that still doesn't justify that he stole from me, Murray says.
I guess. So what did you do when you saw the white shark?
I followed him to the reef. It was a pretty habitat for this shark. There were plants, coral, and anemones. I came closer and closer, and then I saw it.
Saw what?
I saw the biggest assortment of diamonds and pearls I had ever seen in my life. They were sparkling in the distance, a giant wide pile of precious antiques, valuable gems, and glittering goodness. The white shark was very vain. He was admiring himself in the mirror when I saw him. When he was done, I quickly swam towards his costly collection and looked for my diamond. I didn't want to get any of the other stuff, although it was tempting, but I just wanted my diamond back. So I took it. And what can we learn from that, Lola?
Lucy laughs. She can hardly believe that her grandfather got her name wrong again, but she lets it go this time. If you just wait long enough, you can accomplish your goals. Isn't that what you're trying to teach me? She says.
That's precisely what I'm trying to teach you, Cammy. Patience pays. It's a virtue. Always remember that if you wait, you can have something later. Never be too eager, especially when there are sharks around.
Sounds about right, Lucy says. Great story, Grandpa.
Oh, but the story isn't over yet, Murray says. There is one more lesson you should learn from this.
Chapter 5. Perspective. Go ahead, Lucy says. I am listening.
So I snatched the diamond away from the shark's collection, Murray says. And then I tried to swim home. Big mistake. I was too eager to get out of there.
Did you get caught?
Yes, I did. The white shark saw me and attacked immediately. And as you know, I didn't get eaten. Otherwise, what?
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today, Lucy says, filling him in.
That's right. You're smart, Kathy. I defended myself. That diamond was mine, and I rightfully stole it back from the shark. So when the shark came at me, I extended my spikes. He flinched and stopped, reluctant to come any closer. After that, when he was far away enough, I shot a laser beam at him. Whoosh! I missed, but at least I showed him what I was capable of.
Woohoo! Don't mess with Grandpa! Lucy shouts.
Thanks, kiddo. I was confident, something you always should be.
I'll try, Grandpa. So what happened to the shark?
Well, I ended up losing the diamond after all. The shark dodged my attacks and swam right at me, knocking the diamond away from me and causing me to fall to the bottom of the deep. Before I passed out, I took one final look at the shark. He had taken the diamond away from me and was swimming back to his collection in the reef. That was the last I saw of him."
"Whoa, so you never got the diamond back?" Lucy asks.
"No, I just had to let it go. And that's the last thing I wanted to tell you, Lucy."
"Yes!" Lucy shouts.
What's going on? Why are you yelling like that?" Murray asks.
"You finally got my name right."
"Oh, yes, of course I did, Leticia. It's not hard, you know."
Lucy sighs. Her grandpa is incorrigible, but he has a good heart, and his stories are super awesome, so she doesn't bother getting annoyed with his shattered mind. As she swims behind the sea creature, she stays silent, hoping that he will finish his final remarks.
"I lost my train of thought," Murray says. "What was I saying?"
"Something about letting go," Lucy says.
"Oh, yes. Make sure you let things go when you need to. They're just material possessions and they won't make you happy."
"Got it," Lucy says. She likes talking to her grandfather, but there is still something bothering her, something she picked up on during the conversation. "Grandpa," she says, "can I ask you one final question?"
"Go ahead, Chantal. I am all ears."
"My name is... Oh, never mind." Chapter 6. Never Considered. You told me about staying calm, using what works, being determined, patience, and letting go. And I think all those lessons are useful, but the way you talked about the squid makes me wonder if you ever forgave the squid. Did you?
"What do you mean, Cindy? That squid stole from me. He stole from me. What's there to forgive? I gave him his just reward. I whacked him in the face with my tail. He should have seen that coming."
"Yes, but Grandpa, didn't you tell me to let go?"
"Letting go of material things is a lot different than letting go of what someone did to you, especially some stupid squid."
Lucy doesn't understand. "Didn't the squid say that he borrowed money for his friend and that was the reason he had to pay off the shark?"
"Yes, I suppose he did."
"And didn't he steal from you to make sure he wouldn't get killed?" Lucy asks.
"Yes, but that doesn't justify it," Murray says.
"I guess not. You're right, Grandpa. Even if your life is in danger, you still shouldn't steal, right?"
"That's right, Lacey. Stealing is always wrong."
"It's Lucy, Grandpa. It was nice talking to you. Thanks for the stories." Lucy swims away to the sunken building. Murray watches her and shakes his head.
"Smart girl, creature girl," he says.
Chapter 7. New Power. Murray swims in circles again. He feels a little lonely. His heroic stories of fighting sea animals and his life lessons seem a little empty when there is nobody around to hear them. Murray sighs. His granddaughter made him think. Now that he looks at the situation as it was back then, he realizes that she may be right. Perhaps he should have been less hard on the squid who took his diamonds. He doesn't want to admit it because he feels justified in what he did. After all, didn't the squid deserve a little beating? He was so rude. But the longer Murray thinks about it, the more he sees his own pride. Letting go was right. He should have just let it go. He could have untied the rope without beating him up. And not only that, but whatever he did, Murray realizes that the bitter, angry feeling is still bothering him. Suddenly, he sees Lucy return. She is swimming towards him, but she isn't alone. Who is that next to her? It's the squid.
"What are you doing with that squid?"
Murray asks. "He wants to say something," Lucy says. "Go ahead. What is it you wanted to tell my grandfather?"
"I'm sorry," the squid says. "I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago I stole a diamond from you. I remember explaining to you why I did it, but I never apologized. I'm sorry."
This puts Murray in an even more awkward position. He stares at the squid for a while and can hardly believe that Lucy bumped into him like this,
right after he told her those stories. There is still a part in him that doesn't want to say it, but eventually it comes out. Murray looks with his one eye into the squid's eyes and says, "I'm sorry too. I could have just let you go after you told me where the other diamond was. And although I don't approve of what you did, I understand why you did it."
"Nice," the squid says. "So we're good?"
"We're good," Murray says. Then he turns to Lucy and says, "Remember, kiddo, always forgive, no matter what someone else has done to you."
"I think I like that lesson the best, Grandpa," Lucy says with a smile.
The end. This has been Sea Adventure for Kids, story about a grandpa sea creature and his granddaughter, adventure stories for kids, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.